Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. So in this video, we are going to discuss Geeks for Geeks problem of the day, and today's problem is cutting rectangles, and it is an easy level problem. So this particular problem is fairly simple, but if you have not solved this problem yet, I believe that while explaining the solution, when I start explaining, you will be able to figure out the solution on your own. You will not have to watch the whole video. You can still watch the whole video. It's just the YouTube algorithm. The more you watch the video, the more YouTube think that this video is a good one. It's called audience retention. And similarly, you can also like, share and subscribe, because again, if those numbers are high, YouTube thinks that this video is good. So don't forget to do that. So let us quickly start with the problem statement. This particular problem says that we have been given a rectangle of dimensions L cross B, and we have to find the minimum number of n identical squares of maximum side. So, right, the first thing in this particular question is they should be squares and they should have the maximum sides, right? So that can be cut out from the rectangle so that no residue remains in the rectangle. Also find the dimension k of that particular square. So basically we have to find the details about the square which we have to form from this particular rectangle L cross B such that no residue remains. That means there should be no remaining rectangle, right? Now let me just show you the example. What we will have to do. For example, if this is a bigger rectangle, you will have to cut out some squares, right? Like this, such that no part of the rectangle is remaining, right? So this is our question. Now I'll form three very important statements or conditions, right? If you read these conditions carefully, you'll be able to derive the solution on your own, right? So the first condition is, let us say that the side of the square is x, right? So the first condition is x should be maximum possible, should be maximum possible, right? X should have the maximum value that is possible for x for the given test case, right? The second condition is, now the second and the third condition both are derived from the problem statement which says that there should be no residue left, right? So let us first talk about the length, right? Let us talk about it in a horizontal manner. Now for example, the uh, first square is like this and it has a length x, right? Let me just mark a boundary. The second square is like this, the length is x, again a boundary. The third square is like this, length is x, and the fourth square is like this, length is x, right? We don't want any residue to remain. We don't want any part of the rectangle to remain. We want these four, if we have four squares, we want these four squares to entirely cover the length, right? Which means that x should divide L, or this should be equal to 0, right? So the second condition is x should divide L. Similarly, if we talk about the height, let me just try to make a similar shape. So if we talk about the height in this vertical manner, this is height. So if this is x and this is x, again besides the two squares, in this case it is 2, the two squares should entirely cover the height. So similarly x should divide h, simple, right? So I believe if you read these three statements carefully, then you will be able to think of the answer. What is an x such that it should be the maximum possible? It should divide L and it should divide H. So if a number x is dividing L and x is dividing H also, so that means it is a common factor of both L and H, right? It should be the maximum possible. So it means we have to find the greatest common factor. That's it. So you just have to find the GCD of L and H. That would give you the side of the square that is equals to x. Once you know the side of the square, then you can easily find the number of the squares. How? You can find L into H. This will be the total area and this will be the area of one single square. If you divide both of them, you will get the value of n, right? So this would be the solution of today's problem. Let me just quickly repeat what I just said. So there are three important conditions. Let us say that x is the side of the squares that we are going to make. There are three important conditions related to x. That is, the first one is x should be the maximum possible, right? Because it is mentioned in the question. X should divide L, because it is mentioned in the question that there should be no residue left after we are filling or after we are cutting out the squares, right? So x should divide L. Similarly, x should also divide the h, right? So if there is a number that divides two numbers, though, then we call it the common factor of both of those numbers, right? And we know that we want to make the x maximum as possible, so we want to find the greatest common factor, right? So if we find the greatest common factors of both L and H, it will give us the value of x that we were looking for. This is the value of x. Once we know the value of x, we can certainly find the number of squares that we will be able to cut out by this formula, where this is the area of the bigger rectangle L into H, and this is the area of the smaller square that we are going to cut out. If we divide the bigger area by the smaller one, we will get the number of squares that we will be able to cut out from the rectangle, right? So this was the whole solution. Now let me just show you the code. The code is very simple and straightforward. So it says that we have to return a vector of long int. That is why I have created a vector of long int of size 2, right? So at first position, at first index, I'm storing the value of the GCD or the value of k as it is mentioned in the question, or the side of the square, whatever you say. So I've just used the inbuilt GCD functions, that is underscore GCD L comma B. So this is the inbuilt function in C++. Now what I do is I just find out my answer of 0, that will be equal to the number of squares, right? So it is equal to n into b divided by square of answer of 1 or the side of the square, right? At the end, I can just return my answer. So this was the solution for today's problem, cutting rectangles. I hope you guys were able to understand it. And if you did, you can show your appreciation by clicking on the like button, and don't forget to subscribe and share this channel. So till the next video drops, keep coding, stay safe, bye bye.